So, y'all, listen, we are back to talk about Palm Royale, season one, episode 8. Maxine saves a whale. Now, y'all, we're going to get right into it and let's talk about what happened last week in case you missed it. Okay. So, we know that this was Skeet's funeral. Evelyn did the unthinkable, or excuse me, Maxine did the unthinkable by betraying Robert and turning in her prince just to get no good Dougie off. Okay. And so as this scene opens up, oh, we also found out that Evelyn is broke. Everything was left to Penelope, aka Linda. And yeah, those were the key takeaways. Let's get into this episode. Shall we? Okay. Now, as it opens up, we have a flashback to Robert's days in the military. Okay. He is in Korea, and we're flashing back and seeing that he had an experience there, honey. His man who got caught in the ocean and there were bombs bursting in air. Okay. And I don't know if we'll get further details into that. I think it's really just a reflective moment for Robert, as we'll talk about later in this review, where he is really just kind of looking back on his life and his relationships, right? Is he the cause? Is he the reason why none of the relationships are working? Or could it just be the time that they're in, right? Meanwhile, back at the home front, Maxine, Norma, and Robert, honey, are taking pictures for the shiny sheet because we know the beach ball is inevitable. Okay. It is up on us. It is here. And Maxine is doing everything she can to make everything perfect. Meanwhile, Norma has a secret mission. Okay. Norma is about the secret mission. While all that's going on, Evelyn is lamenting the loss of all of her items. Okay. She will now be living in a trailer. What is it called? A Airstreamer. Y'all put it in the comments below. I know y'all are going to get me together about that. To downsize and find all of her things. And we find out in this episode that Evelyn has an affinity to animals. Okay. It's a thing. Meanwhile, Linda is locked up in the room and everyone is asking for advice. Maxine's asking for advice. Virginia comes and sits by the door. I mean, it's a whole thing. We're writing notes back and forth, which I think is dangerous because we're telling our deepest, darkest secrets. Meanwhile, Dougie, laying it on thick to Maxine. They're planning for the party and he's planning his next scammer move, okay, is what I believe. And she's just looking at him like, what the heck? I betrayed my bestie for you. My goodness. Meanwhile, Anne is in the house, honey, and she is, trying to get some juice, some information to publish in the shiny sheet for the beach ball, but stumbles upon some letters of Norma's and her various lovers, honey, of the past. And she's quite intrigued. And she says, we find out in this, conversation that Anne really wanted to be Capote. She didn't want to be writing these little fluffy articles. And so she feels like she might dig deeper and find some valuable information there. Honey, Evelyn and Dinah are having a ball at the club, honey, just trying to screw with Maxine and the beach ball, doing everything they can to ruin it, honey, ordering sloppy joes, canceling her food, honey. They done canceled the champagne and ordered Boone's Farm. Just ridiculous. And they are kikiing. But while they are there, honey, the tennis pro sneaks up and he is like, Dinah, we need to talk because I know that you're recruiting this new man, honey, because Dinah done recruited the old man and, is ready for him to be her husband because Perry's locked up and she needs, she don't know where her next Louis Vuitton, her next Chanel bag is coming from. So they have to make that work. And so they're fighting because he's utterly heartbroken that she's doing that. Meanwhile, we have Robert on the beach lamenting the loss of his prince and Maxine trying to console him, saying, he was no good. You were too good for him. This has nothing to do with you. You're a good man, all that, but still not quite coming clean and telling the truth. Meanwhile, Mitzi is working at the club, not in the capacity she thought, honey, because we all thought she was working for Perry. But the plot thickens, okay? And we are going to talk about that a little bit later. But honey, looking sad, looking miserable, Meanwhile, there is a beached whale. Of all the days, of all the beaches, why now? Maxine would say, why now? So now they have to figure out how they're going to get this beached whale off of the beach in time for the party. And of course, Maxine has a one-track mind. It's all about, it's all about. Honey, before we know it, Norma is up out of this wheelchair. Do you hear me? And she is mixing concoctions and poisoning who she thinks is Maxine's drink, honey. But it ain't Maxine's drink because Ann takes the drink. And I just want to know, is Ann out of here? Is she out? Because that was a lot of poison that lady put in the drink. Now, honey, Robert done went to the bar and he is at his bar. Okay. And a police officer, detective pops up there and he's like, Maxine is so great. I'm so grateful to her. And Robert's like, why? And he's like, because she gave us that fake prince who was out here defrauding everyone. So instantly Robert knows. He confronts Dougie and Maxine and is like, you are low down. Y'all deserve everything that you get. I thought you were somebody else. You're not. You're terrible, awful, horrible people. Okay. He is through with them, through with it, ready to move on because how dare you betray me? You know what I'm saying? How dare you? Now, back at the club, he used to work there collecting his effects and he sees none other than Mitzi. And Mitzi says, I'm going to New York. I got to get out of here. And he sees that she now is going to be a flight attendant. And he's like, you went from manicurist to actress or model to flight to, working here at the club to now, a flight attendant. What's going on? Honey, we find out she been with Dougie. She has been with Dougie and is with child, honey. With child, and now she's running scared and she's so ashamed because she said, I had no idea that this was Maxine's husband. I had no idea. But my thing is, sis, he was married nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? Married.
Close your legs to married men.
Nonetheless. And so he consoles her, comforts her, and I think instantly is now feeling for Maxine more than ever. Now he goes to his bar and he's there still. And who does he bump into but Dougie? Well, actually, he invites Dougie there. And Dougie's pleading his case. Dougie is like, you know what? I love Maxine. This was just a mistake, and he's like, just looking at him. Robert's just looking at Robert has nothing for Dougie because he knows Maxine is way too good for him. Now, meanwhile, Dinah had a boat party for her intended and come to find out that Dinah's intended is still in love with Norma. And Norma ain't giving him no play, but we come to find out Norma can talk, honey. Norma can talk. By next episode, watch her be talking. But she's still on her mission to get rid of Maxine. So while Dougie is begging and pleading Robert not to say anything, to do all the things, Maxine is on the boat uninvited with Norma, and she decides she's going to do a whale call because she's been studying in her downtime, and she calls the whale back to the ocean, and the whale comes. However, not moments later, Norma releases the safety from the wheelchair and knocks Maxine into the ocean. Meanwhile, the bar that they're in gets raided by the police because it's illegal. Evelyn on the beach, after having spent her whole day connecting with the whale, has to say goodbye as he goes away. And the tennis instructor approaches and says, you look like the saddest woman in the world, but the most beautiful. And she says, kiss me now. And they end in a warm embrace and a kiss, and Maxine floating in the ocean miles away from the shore, Dougie in handcuffs for being at the gay bar. You guys, that's my review. That's it. Was it my favorite episode? No. But I mean, we're getting to the end of the season. And from what I know, this is a limited series, a mini series. So more than likely we won't get any more episodes after episode 10, but that leaves us with 2 more. Drop your predictions below. Let me know what you're thinking. Are we still feeling it? The momentum has kind of, staved off for me. So I don't know, but drop it in the comments below. And if you're still here, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.